The Minecraft Live mob vote is coming up very soon. There are 3 unique and charming mobs to vote from, but only one will be added into the game as part of a future update. These votes happen every year or so, and they've always been the source of multiple scandals, from players begging for Mojang to add all 3, to rigging, and of course, the dreaded inclusion of the Phantom. Phantoms are a weird, polarizing mob. On one hand, most casual players loathe its existence, dubbing it the worst Minecraft mob, with this tweet racking up over 12,000 likes, to the point where most server owners disable them, with Mojang themselves submitting to the average Minecrafter's plea by adding /game rule do insomnia to disable them. However, for the more seasoned and experienced Minecrafter, in this case speedrunners, Phantoms are about as impactful to the flow of a run as Internet Explorer is when it asks to be your default browser. Let me explain. Not only do Phantoms take upwards of 3 sleepless nights to start spawning, totaling around 70 minutes of continuous gameplay to ever see one, it's not uncommon to see speedrunners tap a bed to set a respawn point before doing a strategy called hunger resetting, where a player dies to reset their hunger and health bar to full. The insomnia statistic is reset when a player dies, or when a player enters a bed. So by doing both, speedrunners kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Given that most speedruns are less than an hour long, and some even taking place in a shorter time than it takes for night to fall, it's safe to say that Phantoms have had 0 impact on Minecraft random seed glitchless speedrunning in the past few years. Which begs the question, what would have happened if a different mob other than the Phantom was voted in? How would this have impacted speedrunning? On November the 18th, 2017, Minecon Earth was broadcast to a live audience of over 50,000 concurrent viewers across both Twitch and YouTube, during which a crucial part of the event was the mob vote, never before seen initiative by Mojang to give power to the players, by allowing them to vote on which mob they prefer to see added to the game, with the other 3 unvoted mobs being discarded on the spot. This is a far different approach on how mob votes are done nowadays, given that not only have the roster of mobs been reduced to 3, but the other 2 options that weren't voted in are still planned to be added at a later date. For example, in 2019, a biome vote was the focus of Minecon Earth. The mountain biome won the poll, which meant goats were added in Java 1.17, but the second place swamp biome wasn't forgotten, getting an update in 1.19. Had the Phantom not won the vote, we'd be living in a hugely different world, playing a totally different version of Minecraft with one of the 3 remaining ideas populating it, all of which serve different purposes and all of which probably impacting Minecraft speedrunning in both positive and negative ways. Let's take a look at them and discern exactly what they are, what their purpose is, and how they could be used to gain an edge in a speedrunning scenario. Mob A, the Barnacle. The first mob to be revealed was the monster of the ocean depths, later known as the Barnacle. This mob spawns in deep oceans and attacks with its tongue-like tentacle, pulling players down, subsequently forcing them to take drowning damage. Currently, speedrunners use the ocean more than any other overworld biome. In the latest version, it's useful for both shipwrecks for early game iron, and magma ravines to enter the nether as quickly as possible. Adding extra hostile mobs into the ocean would definitely cause an issue. Taking damage early on would require the use of extra food, which is already limited in many speedruns, and not to mention the potential time losses of being sucked down to the depths of the ocean in a boat. The Barnacle was the first mob to be eliminated, and given its lack of benefit to the average player or to a speedrunner, both parties were likely happy with this outcome. Mob C, the Great Hunger. This large-mouthed mob, which definitely has no semblance to a trapinch, has magical enchanting powers. As Jeb himself said on the release video, it will open its huge jaw and sink into the ground where it camouflages itself. Maybe you can even use these abilities to your own advantage to add or remove enchantments from your own items. The idea of removing enchantments from your own items was added just 1 update later in 1.14 with the use of a grindstone, but the concept of adding enchantments to your own items would be a recipe for a new strategy development. Dream's well-known 1.15 world record run was an unorthodox strategy for the time, as the majority of runners were using trading to get pearls. Instead, Dream opted for a more luck-oriented strategy of finding a looting 3-book in a desert temple to kill Endermen on the way to the stronghold, getting him the world record at the time. Potentially, if the Great Hunger was a mob voted into the game, rather than wasting valuable minutes gathering the iron needed for an anvil, speedrunners could have thrown tens of stone swords towards the cute looking mob to have a chance of rolling a looting 3 swords within just minutes of your run. This could have heavily impacted the meta of speedrunning older versions of Minecraft. Alternatively, the use of gold swords may have become the forefront of the meta by their nature of increased enchantability. This increased enchantability leads to more rare enchants. The Great Hunger definitely would have introduced some funky strategies, but no mob would have been as impactful as Mob D, the Great Inferno. The mob which took second place in the original mob vote, the Hovering Inferno, was later introduced to Minecraft dungeons as the Wildfire. Unlike other mobs, this was a mob that was inevitable for speedrunners to encounter, as every modern speedrun uses a fortress to obtain blaze rods. Blaze rods are essential to speedruns, as they're the key ingredient to crafting Eyes of Ender. So no matter what, this Mega Blaze type mob would have been encountered by every speedrunner in almost every run. This mob was rumoured to spawn with groups of blazes, making shieldless fights, or fights without a fire resistance potion, more difficult than ever. Luckily, due to the piglin bartering system introduced in version 1.16, fire resistance is readily available to the average speedrunner. In the introduction video, a shockwave attack is mentioned, which may be more difficult to avoid. Speedrunners, being obsessed with the ins and outs of Minecraft, would find ways to turn this mob into a benefit. The likelihood is that these upgraded blazes would spawn once per spawner and have the potential to drop more blaze rods, far better than the 50-50 chance of getting a blaze rod to drop from a regular blaze. This would encourage new strategies to kill these shielded mobs. For reference, the Minecraft Dungeons version of this mob is able to spawn extra blazes to assist in the fight. These mechanics would be inevitably studied and perfected by speedrunners to ensure that the mob was able to continuously hover at a critical health, such that more blazes were forced to spawn. This would allow speedrunners to leave fortresses faster than ever before. In conclusion, these mobs would have impacted Minecraft speedrunning far more than the infinitesimal chance that phantoms would mess up your hour-long speedrun. Which brings us to the question of this year's vote, comprising of the Sniffer, a prehistoric mob that sniffs plants, and the Tough Golem, a mob that is somehow more useless than its copper counterpart to hold up items. Wait, am I forgetting something?
The Rascal, baby! Best bloody mob in existence! Holla, look at that adorable little fella right there. Ain't that hide-and-seek game just totally adorable? It's like playing peekaboo with your firstborn. Oh, you've won hide-and-seek 3 times in a row? Well, butter me up and fry me in batter, because I'm basking in that sweet, sweet enchanted loot. Looting sword, efficiency pick, depth strider boots. Give me all of it, brother. I'm reaching for that sub 25. You know exactly who to vote for, guys.
Dude, fuck off. This is my video.